We're live. Okay, we are live.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. I would like to call to order the Friday, January 10th, 2025. My goodness, meeting of the Pinelands Commission. To start, Jay, great to see you in person in 3D.
Good morning.
Could you please read the open public meetings act statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Pinelands Commission was given in compliance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act by providing notice to all municipal and county clerks within the Pinelands area and to the Secretary of State on December 20, 2024. The commission officially designated newspapers on December 20, 2024, and by posting a copy on the commission's website.
Great, thank you so much. And next up, not on the written agenda, but we are so thrilled to have a new member with us today. Deb Busby Cope. Jay, can you please swear in Deb? I think we're gonna do it over.
We're gonna do it here.
Oh,
Yeah. I moved the flags. Don't switch your room.
It's on our.
Raise your right hand. That means I.
I,
State your name.
Deborah Busby Cope,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state,
and to the governments established in this United States and in the state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties
justly perform all the duties
of the office of Highland Commissioner
of the office of Finance Commissioner
to the best of my ability, according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Deb. Welcome officially. And I don't know if you want to say a few words before we jump in.
No, it's an honor to be here with you guys. I've been on the other side for 20-some years. So it's kind of nice to be in this role, and it's a whole new chapter in my life now. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to working with all of you.
Amazing, thank you. All right, with that, Sue, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Celta,
Here.
Commissioner Avery,
Here.
Commissioner Busby Cope,
Here.
Commissioner Christie,
Here.
Commissioner Holroyd,
Here.
Commissioner Irick,
Here.
Commissioner Letman, Commissioner Lobauer,
Here.
Commissioner Moriello,
Here.
Commissioner Mead. No. Commissioner Pigolitzky,
Here.
Commissioner Rittler Sanchez.
Here.
Commissioner Wallner.
Here.
Here.
Okay.
All right, thank you. And can everyone please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance? Oh, it's over there. I'm really keeping us on our toes.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next up, can I get a motion and a second to adopt the minutes? And this is for both the open and closed session.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
My goodness gracious. All right, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Thank you. All right. Now we are to reports. Sue, we'll start with you.
Okay, yes, we have no committee reports. No committees met in December, and I just have a very short report. It's been an interesting month of holidays, and the whole office has been sick at one point or another, in and out. So a little bit crazy, but I did want to update you on a couple of things. One, at the December meeting, you'll recall the commission did review and authorize me to sign new contracts with CWA and the union. And after preparation of the minutes of that meeting and the governor's review period has expired, I did sign them earlier this week. So we are in process of implementing the both the salary increases and the open enrollment for health insurance changes will start next week. So that's in process, and that was a big accomplishment for everybody, and I'm glad that we're implementing now and still negotiating and talking about that. So that was a big thing that got finished. That was the good news. The bad news is well, I'll say not so great news, hopefully. Involves our Fenwick Manor projects. We have run into a fairly significant snag in working with Treasury and the Property Management Construction Office. And I think that we're going to need to go off on a different path in the coming months with a new RFP and management of the contract ourselves. So that's going to cause a fairly significant delay in the process in terms of hiring a consultant and getting the construction and rehabilitation work started. But I think at the end of the day, it'll be for the best that the commission and the staff here would be working directly with the consultant and managing the project. It's just unfortunate that it's taken us a year to get to this point. But I think we have a path forward now, and we'll start putting that in motion next week. So hopefully I'll have better news to report in the coming months, and we'll have more progress. Because the building is not getting better as time goes by, actually. So that'll be something we'll be, it will take a lot of our time, a lot more time for the staff than we had originally expected. But nevertheless, I think it's the best process to follow at this point. So I'll keep you all updated on that. And that's really all. I think other staff are gonna hit the other highlights and see about things that have been going on over the last month. So that's it.
Any questions or comments for Sue?
So if, will the budget support extra help for you and staff
No.
moving forward?
Does not. No, I definitely have concern.
The governor's office?
Yeah.
A grant or
Right.
some help?
Yeah, so we were just talking about that a little bit about my concern that with a delay of a year, you know, cost increase.
Grants going up.
And so we're gonna try and figure that out a little bit more and then make a request, you know, for some additional funding for the project. Yeah.
Good. It's a shame, because
It is.
the building really needs a lot of help.
And it's, you know, it's not getting better clearly, and it still has people working there every day, so. Yeah,
Maybe someone would come in and declare it non-habitable. Really create.
No.
Wow.
That's interesting because this is an estimate.
Very
well, we're working on it. Any other questions or comments? All right, Chuck.
Good morning, commissioners, members of the public. First of all, happy new year to everyone. And I just wanted to mention two brief items. The first one is the management report was issued. It's available online, and I believe the commissioners have it. References interesting information and a lot of information on different applications that are pending with the commission, so I won't take up time doing that today. I did want to mention one application. We've been working with Hamilton Township on their landfill in their industrial park right outside of Mays Landing, in their attempt to cap that landfill and also to install a solar facility on the landfill. Back in the summer, we had identified the threat of endangered species issue with the proposed development. We had made some suggestions on how to approach that issue. Progress was not being made, at least from our perspective. I had called the mayor and the township administrator. We met in mid-December here at the commission, along with the community development director, the township attorney, and the applicant. After discussing the process, the applicant said that they would attempt to address the suggestion that the staff had made. I'm happy to announce that we received his plan a couple of days ago. It provides the forested corridors to protect the species that we had suggested. And I'm optimistic at this point, the application will move forward and it'll be before the commission for a vote shortly. That's all I had to report.
Thanks, Chuck. Anyone have any questions or comments? All right, next is Stacy.
Good morning, everyone. As you probably noticed in the management report, there are a number of litigation matters that are ongoing. What I wanted to bring to your attention, though, was a matter that was filed, a complaint was filed on January 2nd in a matter involving Artistic Materials, which is a property that is located in Southampton. The property owner has for years, actually, I think we're past decades at this point, been in violation of the deed of conservation restriction that is on the parcel, in addition to violation of the wetlands standards of the CFP. As you know, we do not have direct enforcement authority, we do not, commission cannot issue an AO and a CAP administrative order notice of civil administrative penalty. And we have been working with the AG's office for some time to put together a complaint. And I briefed you before on this matter. I'm happy to report that the Department of Environment and Protection, who actually holds the easement, did join us in the litigation. And so the litigation is pending. The property owner has been served. For those of us who've been working on this for years, we're very excited that this is moving forward and this fairly dramatic violation will be resolved, hopefully through litigation. Property owner has until 35 days to file, so I believe their answer is due in the beginning of February. So that's all I have for you.
Thanks. Any questions or comments for Stacy?
I just comment that I'm glad our beloved B&B has joined in supporting the commission on that support. So whoever you can thank it there, please extend them. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, Gina.
Good morning. My report will also be pretty short this morning. I wanted to just mention that we're planning for our permanent land protection summit in March or maybe early April. That would be our third annual summit. We're thinking this year that given the focus on accessible trails everywhere, that would also be our focus. So more on that in the coming months. We have a new resource planning specialist starting at the end of the month. So next month we'll be introducing a new staff member and hopefully that will help us get some of the projects that we've deferred over the last year moving along. On that related note, for our National Park Service funding, we had, as I've mentioned in the past, deferred a couple projects, and Sue and I will be meeting to discuss our work plan with NPS soon. And that's really all I have this morning.
Great, good stuff. Anyone have any questions or comments? All right,
Good morning, commissioners. I don't really have a big update to share. Really, it's more of a plug about what's coming up at this month's P&I committee meeting. Staff will be reporting on a master plan and ordinance from Berlin Township regarding proposed management area change. We will also be reporting on an ordinance from Barnegat Township amending existing regional growth area zoning district. In addition to those performance items, we're also going to do an overview of the preliminary state plan and cross acceptance process and how that overlaps with the Pinelands, as well as sort of a brief presentation on sort of trends in our municipal performance process from last year. So busy meeting.
very nice teaser. Any comments, questions for Brad? All right, last but not least, Paul.
All right, good morning, happy Friday. As you probably know from the press release I sent out, the 36th annual Pineland Short Course will be held on March 8th at Stockton University. We sponsored to organize that event. It will feature 37 presentations, including 24 new programs. Commissioners are invited to attend at no cost. You should have received an email from Joel Mott about that. If you need any help with registration, let us know and we'll take care of it. Secondly, later today, a group of us will be leading a 4-hour tour for visitors, not a 3-hour tour. Right? The weather started getting rough. So it's a 4-hour tour. for visitors from the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, also known as UNESCO. And that includes a delegation of UNESCO people from France and their entourage, as well as Chef Daniel Hum, who's a New York Times 4-star chef, 3 Michelin star chef who owns 11 Madison Park, which is vegan, up in New York City. They're coming down. And as you know, we oversee the Pinelands Biosphere Reserve, and the U.S. Biosphere Program contacted us late last week to ask if we could lead a tour of local farms for the chef and the delegation, with the goal of learning about and discussing a biosphere reserve's role in sustaining environmentally sound farming and the production of local food. So a local farm has agreed to take our group on a guided bus tour of their farm and adjacent White Spot Village, which is the birthplace of the high bush cultivated blueberry, as you know, and has a general store that sells items made from local agricultural products. From there, we're going to go to PPA's Rancocas Creek Farm, which is a organic chemical-free farm, and learn about their practices. That's all I have.
Excellent. So excited to get out this afternoon. Any questions or comments for Paul?
Oh, good job putting this program together on such short notice.
That's been a whirlwind.
It was a lot of work.
Anything else? All right, thank you. Next up, I think we have one public development application. Can I get a motion in a second? Thank you. And a second. Great, thank you. This is for Stockton University pedestrian walkway construction in Galway. Chuck, I don't know if there's any more color you can add to that.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I would just summarize that it's a proposal by Stockton University to build concrete walkways, about 1,200 linear feet of walkways. The public development report discusses the rather long history of the violation that we're on the precipice of resolving down in Stockton. It relates to a deed restriction that was recorded on certain lands. We believe that an amended deed restriction is about to be filed. We're hopeful that'll happen next week, and I'll be happy to answer any questions about the details of the public development report.
Any questions for Chuck on this one? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you. All right, we have, oh, this is, I don't know why I'm confused to where this. Public comment period, this is only on these 3 development applications. There will be another public comment period at the end of the meeting. So if you do not have public comment on these 3 applications, please hold your comments. Paul, will you put the number up, please, for folks at home? And Chuck, do you want to walk through, give an overview of these 3 courses, please?
Certainly, Madam Chairperson. As you mentioned, there are 3 applications up for public comment. The first one is from Stockton University. They're proposing to replace an existing sanitary sewer pumping station. The only caveat with that particular application is that is in the deed restricted area. So we're hopeful that the recordation next week of the revised deed restriction will resolve this problem, and the application will move forward at the February commission meeting. Barnegat Township is proposing a new water storage tank, elevated water storage tank. It's located on what's known as West Bay Avenue in the township. And the last application is from the city of Estelle Manor. They're proposing to pave approximately 2,000 linear feet of several existing right-of-ways in the town. Road improvements.
Great, all right. Does anyone in the room have any public comment to give on these 3? All right, do we have anybody on the phone?
There is one person who attempted to join the meeting from the very outset who might be a public commenter, so I'll let them in.
Okay.
In the meantime, Chuck, is the Stockton application the one that we did the emergency authorization for, or this is something separate? Because there are 2 things.
Yes, there are multiple stacked up Stockton applications in various statuses. No, this is not the
That'll be.
the elevated water storage tank was the emergency authorization
Oh, got it.
that we discussed at the last commission meeting. The executive director had sent a letter after conferring with the chairperson to allow Stockton to immediately begin the construction of the water storage.
Okay, thank you. All right, is our public?
Yes. Good morning, caller. Can you please state your name for the record? I see your name here as Kevin. I don't know if you're calling to give a public comment or participate in our meeting.
My name is Kevin Langley. I'm not commenting on these current applications that you're here for. I'm more or less here to learn more about this commission. I'll be dealing more with you guys as my neighbor's looking at putting up a cell phone tower. That's why I'm attending.
Okay, so we are live streaming this meeting on YouTube. And so that is where the public can participate and watch and live stream the meeting, not so much through Zoom.
Okay.
So if you go on our website, there's a link there. It's linked off of our icon for YouTube. Also on the agenda, there's a link there as well.
Okay, I got you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Paul. All right, I am gonna close public comment period. Thank you again, Chuck. We have some municipal ordinances that don't require our action, but Brad will give us some details. Brad.
Yeah, just in December, commission staff reviewed 11 ordinances that raised substantial issues with respect to CMP standards. The memo in your packets included descriptions of all of these. I'll just share a couple highlights. We received we received ordinances from Chislehurst Borough and Malvern Township implementing the 2023 CMP amendments related to Hansi. So we're really at the tail end of getting those wrapped up. Lastly, I'll just note there was a kind of interesting ordinance in there from Stafford Township that was resolving a zoning map error dating back to at least 2008. The issue arose during the review of an application for a single family dwelling unit in the township's regional growth area. Although the site was on a street with existing single family homes, it and surrounding properties were zoned for open space and recreation. This was causing delays in them being able to get their approvals for their home. So we worked with the township to provide them with guidance on getting that resolved as quickly as possible. So I would say it's just a good example of sort of the collaboration that we have with municipal, with our Pinelands municipalities to try and deal with these odd administrative discrepancies that crop up from time to time. I'll just say we try to fix those things before, we approve these zoning maps, and GIS is definitely our friends endeavor. So it's much easier to do this. So that's all.
Thanks, Brad. Any questions or comments for Brad? All right, great, thank you. All right, general public comment period. So I'll put the number on the screen, and I think it's signed up. Paul's doing everything. I was just gonna say, well, maybe.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay. Mark Thomas. We do have a 3-minute limit. So, good morning, Mark.
Good morning, and thank you. Thank you all for your service. I am a resident of New Lisbon, so all I have to do is to hop over the North Branch, and here I am. I'd also like to say that I was the founder of the Rancocas Conservancy in 1989, which is the land trust for the Rancocas Creek watershed. And over that time, through volunteer effort, almost completely, we have preserved or helped to manage 2,500 acres. And so we have accomplished quite a bit, and it started out with wood thrush singing just outside the Pinelands in Pemberton Borough, which is one of our preserves. I'd also say that there is a lot, when you think about what happens in the Pinelands Commission and you hear individual issues coming up, it's almost, in my mind, what you see is little green lights blinking around the Pinelands. But the Fenwick Manor is in the Rancocas Creek watershed. Southampton is in the Rancocas Creek watershed. And so this watershed in some ways is pivotal, if understated, in both its advocacy and in fact that a large part of it is outside the Pinelands. But what I would say, as far as the Black Run Preserve is concerned and the consideration of changing rural development in Evesham Township to the forest area, I would say that this is a very important issue. That area is within the Rancocas Creek watershed. I would also say that the area, the reason the Black Run watershed or the subbasin is so valuable is that other subbasins of the Rancocas Creek wrap around it, behind it, so that water coming over from Voorhees and Berlin do not go into the Black Run, and that's what makes Black Run especially pristine and at risk. So I would urge very strongly the consideration of changing that from the rural development to the forest area. That is my main concern today, but every time you come here, you are on sacred ground from the point of view of the Lenape Indians and all the layers that were on those maps in 1979 that which I saw as an example of mapping at Yale at the environment school when I was there. So all of this heritage comes to points here every time you talk about an issue. And so we at the Rancocas Conservancy are dedicated to this watershed in a way that is profound and appreciative. And we extend our gratitude to you for all your work here. And we also hope that we can engage in a positive fashion going forward with a PS with regard to Fenwick Manor. If we can be helpful in any way, we stand ready. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mark. Next up, Fred Akers.
Good morning. My name is Fred Akers from the Great Garden Watershed Association. I'm glad to see you all here this morning. So it's quite a good group. I have two items to comment on. The first one is I want to welcome Dr. Busby Cope to the Finance Commission. I've seen you many times on the dais of the Finance Municipal Council meetings with Mayor Pick and Mayor Chuck. So you have great qualifications, and I'm sure you'll be a major asset to the group.
Thank you.
So the main issue I want to talk about this morning that I came here in person, I want to talk about water supply in the Pinelands. The DEP, Division of Water Resource Management, released the 2024 New Jersey statewide water supply plan last year. And this updated water supply plan has documented that there are some areas in the Pinelands that have stressed groundwater supply issues. One of the areas of concern is the uppermost Huck 11 in the Great Egg Harbor watershed that flows through Winslow, which is currently 131% over allocated with zero additional water available. And now we are having an extreme drought. So we've been lucky here in the Pinelands for the last 20 years because the last really big drought was 2002. We've been doing pretty good up until now. And so last year, the Pinelands Commission implemented new rules in the comprehensive management plan, better protect the groundwater in the Pinelands, in which the Pinelands municipalities have now adopted. I think everybody's in it, almost all of them. So now when there's a new application to increase groundwater withdrawals from the Pinelands, there's a new set of roles and responsibilities where the state, the Pinelands Commission, and the municipalities must coordinate their efforts. Today, there is an application by a golf course in Winslow Township to increase their pumping allocation by 225% in the Huck 11 that I have provided you all a map so you can see that. And the state DEP is on track to permit this right now, which is a 225% water allocation increase over current levels, which for their part will relieve the need for this applicant to worry about water conservation in the event there was a water use restriction of up to 50% during a future drought. And in 2002, the state did apply water restrictions, and they first thought they would apply 50% to golf courses, and then they upped that to 80%. And there were still issues with that, so I have some handouts that that document that. So if every water user doubled their allocation to cover any future drought, the cumulative impact of this could be devastating for the Pineland stream ecology and other users of this public resource during drought. So I recommend that there is a need for active coordination between all the water regulating entities in the Pinelands to adopt a more conservative and cautionary approach to granting increased water uses, given that temperatures are rising, irrigation water use is increasing to adapt to that, and drought may become more frequent and more severe in the future. Finally, I would like to point out the story of the Berlin well in the year 2000, and have a document for that story. So shortly after this public well was turned on, it sucked down the surface water around it, and that well had to be shut down and relocated. It was a big deal, and when you get to be an old guy like me, you get to be the institutional memory to come back and say, hey, you guys know about this issue? So one of the morals to that story is that well users can be wrong in their calculations and justifications for pumping more water. And we as the public are reliant on the water regulators to know better. So thanks for the opportunity to comment, and I'll close by saying I miss Ed Ringowski. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Fred. Next up, John Volpa. Okay. No.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is John Volpa, founder of the Black Run Preserve, speaking as a private citizen and resident of Evesham Township. As the commission continues to consider a headwaters amendment to the CMP, I speak today to bring your attention first to the east-west connector. This region connects the Black Run Preserve's Arrowhaven section with lands on the east and west sides of Hopewell Road. The Evesham Township Open Space Recreation Management Plan describes the area, quote, "This land is largely forested wetlands, but area west of Hopewell Road is upland coniferous forest. Both types of habitats have documented occurrences of threatened and endangered species. It is high priority for protection because it allows the movement of wildlife between two critical regions in southern Evesham that are high integrity lands. It especially prevents the Arrowhaven property and the adjacent preserved Black Run Preserve, as well as the Evesham headwaters area, from becoming isolated from other Pinelands habitat. Forested uplands within this area are important to protect because of their high biodiversity value," unquote. In 2006, the Evesham Medford Sub-Regional Resource Protection Plan recommended expanding protection and preservation of forest areas straddling Medford and Evesham, basically the east-west connector. The protection plan recognized that the expansion of this forest area, quote, "will create an open space corridor that will extend from the Wharton State Forest Tract through both municipalities. Maintenance of uninterrupted, undisturbed forests is necessary to support many rare plant and animal populations. Connection of these forests also helps maintain regional biodiversity," unquote. Both documents stress the maintenance of biodiversity in the corridor, of which the Arrowhaven section of the Black Run Preserve is a keystone parcel. Yet, due to illegal ORV use, most of the Arrowhaven property is denuded sugar sand. If the land were actively restored, then in perhaps 20-30 years, we'd have a true Pine Barrens landscape that could support the greater flow of biodiversity. As the Pinelands Commission continues to develop an MOA for the BRP, it appears that the existing Arrowhaven trails will be closed. But perhaps the Peaceful Partners Trail could remain, and hopefully the decades of illegal ORV use will be stopped. Therefore, I respectfully request that a framework for possible future restoration projects be included in the developing MOA between the PC and Evesham Township. Last June, Pinelands Preservation Alliance hosted a climate conference. I gleaned some specific Arrowhaven restoration recommendations from the expert presenters and shared them with the Evesham Township Environmental Commission. I'd be pleased to share that information with the Pinelands Commission. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. Next up, Bob Smith.
Hi, good morning. My name is Bob Smith. Real quickly, I am assuming that the meeting is being recorded and preserved?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm here as a private citizen. I also want to say that I'm an attorney and I've been doing Pinelands development work for the last 20 or so years. So my first question, it'll be directed to the chair, maybe the executive director, and they may say, hey, Chuck, you better answer this, or please answer this. My first question is when, where, and how did the commission adopt a policy wherein environmental specialists were directed no longer to communicate verbally with applicants? That's my first question.
This isn't a Q&A. This is a public comment session, so you can make your comments and I'm happy to discuss with you after, but this is not a back and forth. So I'm not gonna engage in that.
That's fine. Also, I just want to back up a little bit. A 3-minute public expression time period is the most ridiculous policy that I've heard in my 35 years of government. You can have public policy up front. You can have it at the end. I've never, ever in my career heard of a 3-minute limitation on somebody speaking about issues that may be important to the commissioners in doing their job. My goal over the next 15 years, post-retirement of government, is going to be to educate commissioners about what happens on the regulatory side. And I can speak with authority, not only as an applicant, but I'll let you know that I'm a diplomat in New Jersey local government law, and I will provide a resume. And if I have enough time, there might be some disagreement about an attorney's interpretation at this commission with respect to Oprah. I won't have enough time to talk about that because it's only 3 minutes, and it may be important because if the attorney's interpretation is incorrect, then 6 months from now, this commission and the new commissioner, congratulations, by the way, may be saying, why are we discussing writing a check for attorney's fees for $15,000? And I can get to that. Assemblyman Aselta, Commissioner Dan Christie, I may be asking for a motion and a second to waive that 3-minute rule now, and we'll discuss it in the future. So to my point, because it's only comment, apparently, and I'll research that as soon as I go home to make sure that that is the correct way that public meetings should be handled. My comment is my experience after 20 years of dealing with this commission on a very good basis. And Chuck, thank you very much for 20 years ago introducing me to the Pinelands Commission when we met, and you introduced me to the regulations, and it opened up a part-time career so that I could pay for college education. And now, as a retired FERS member after 33 years and 8 months, I get the ability to do this full time. My kids are grown, so I have all the time in the world to concentrate on this. My experience right now is that the commission over the last 2, 3, 6, 10 months, I'm not sure, went from a policy of we will talk to you to we will never talk to you, regardless of who you are. And I am going to dissect that, and I will 3 minutes at a time, or 3 minutes and 9 friends or clients that come with me. It will be discussed and it will be placed on the record. And after the record is established, I will transcribe it and I will turn over every rock and I will shake every branch. And by the way, I started as a research associate on Capitol Hill. Ironically, I worked for Jim Florio, my very first job as a research associate. And I believe Jim Florio was one of the authors of the law that created this commission. Ironically, I'm at the end and I will go and I will dissect this. I just wanted the commission to know I'm going to educate the commissioners, whether they want to be educated or not. I'm going to dissect every single thing that the regulatory staff does. Jessica, by the way, is fabulous. Because
Bob, if I could ask you to wrap up, it's been exceedingly longer than 3 minutes, so
That's
if you would
fine.
wrap it up, please.
I will be back every month. Is there a motion and a second to extend the 3 minutes? That's permissible. Assemblyman, would you be willing to do that? That's okay if you don't.
The motion.
I'm sorry, what?
I'll make a motion.
Assemblyman.
If we can get a legal from
Sure.
our council, please.
I love legal debate. I love
It's
it.
not, once again, this
Is
is
there
not a
more than
debate.
one
This is
attorney?
not a debate.
Is there more than one attorney?
This is not a debate. This is not a Q&A.
That's okay. I'm very patient.
So there can be a motion and second and discussion. If the commissioners raise that issue. So if there's a second to Commissioner Selt's motion,
Is there a second to Commissioner Seltz's motion?
Mr. Christie. We're neighbors. Come on.
Hearing none. Thank you very much for your comments,
Thank
Bob. Do we have any callers on the line for public comment?
We do not.
Am I sitting down?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Is there anyone else in the room? Heidi?
Hello, I'm Heidi Ye of Pinelands Preservation Alliance. Welcome, Commissioner Cosby Coates.
Thank you.
So I'd like to introduce Pinelands Preservation Alliance as the organization that has a mission to preserve the Pine Barrens ecosystem, promote wide public engagement in the preservation and enjoyment of natural resources, and advance acquisition of land and development rights for conservation. And I would like, as a public comment, to echo what Fred Akers mentioned here earlier. We are concerned with DEP rubber stamping water allocation requests. Part of the reasoning why this would be allowable when there are 0 additional water resources was that they reasoned that this would be no net increase in the annual usage. It would simply allow the applicant to pump more during their months of highest need. But we know that our water resources are very stressed, and so to be pumping even more during the late summer and fall, when we're experiencing drought conditions, would be ecologically harmful. And the studies that were used to support the KC amendments that were recently passed here, they show that there's very little margin for being able to draw down water resources without causing damage. So if there's some way that the Pinelands Commission can lend their expertise to the DEP in this way, then we would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Is there anyone else in the room who did not sign up? No callers, Paul?
No callers.
All right, great. I'm going to close the public comment period. We do not need to go into closed session. Any comments from commissioners before we adjourn? Go ahead, Jessica.
I actually think the question about the water application is really important.
Yeah.
And, I'm not sure if my question had been before, because I can't remember, I can't recall with that map and an overlay, whether that was in the ground connected or. The sense, there's a.
The Berlin well or?
No, it's an application, if it's in the area, if it's already been designated. I know it's from the curb, that's from the. Where it's just vertical comprehensive, but it's even more sensitive to stream.
Yeah, we are aware of the
Are you aware?
application
Okay,
and
good.
hearing the DEP's holding and will be coordinated.
Yeah, okay, that's all I want to know, thank you very much.
Any other comments? Go ahead, Mark.
Just one thing, he's no longer in the room, but I thought it was worth mentioning that we were visited at our meeting today by our friend and colleague, former chairman of the Finance Commission, Sean Earl. So it's always great to see former commissioners coming back and now participating with us. Sorry they didn't get the.
Hopefully he's listening.
Hopefully, thank you, Sean. Happy New Year.
Any other comments? All right, hearing none, can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstention?